Wild Gardens, Rose Gauntlet Entertainment, designed and artist. Flip this over. Discover the exciting world of foraging where new foods and friends await. So there's all of that information. We have ages 14 and up, 1 to 4 players, 90 to 120 minutes. So let's go ahead and get this open. Alright, before we open this, I do want to say that this is has some deluxe components inside and some special packs. I'll note those where possible. So we start off with the rule book. Let's push this aside. So there is all of your components. Here is all of your setup. Game and turn overview, place an action token, your player board, move your forager, the rules of movement, activating your skills. Here's the different skills. You have forage, you have cook. Here's more about cooking, serving, the guest cards, free skills, reserve, study. An example of all that, the rest action, scoring victory points, ending the trip, final scoring, breaking a tie. Quite a few tiebreakers. Optional gameplay, solo mode, location guide and rest bonus guide for all the icons, icons for all the skill token guides, and the recipe and guest icons, the credits, FAQs, quick reminders, and so forth. Next up we have a solo scenario guide. There's all those. So these are the deluxe wood bits of all the different types of resources you'll be getting. So there's all that. And then where's it at? I put it in here. There we go. So this here bag is all the stuff, the wooden components that I'll be showing you, but these are the ones that would come in the base game, so all the punch outs. So that's what this bag is. And you have these little baggies. So let's get into, actually we're going to do this one first. These are source tokens. These will be getting dispersed around the board, and this is what you're going to be foraging. So again, we have the wood ones, but there are the punch board and that other one. You have these punch board skill tokens. You'll be adding these to your player board to possibly be doing more things with your actions. So there's a wide variety of different types of these. Getting into here, we have these little wood books. And this is a wooden first player marker. This was a bonus as well. We have multiplier tokens for the different resources if you're running low. You have the player pieces, so each person comes with this big forager. And then here are your, this is your pollinator little score tracker. You have your jar, and then your action tokens. It's a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 1 to 4. So in blue, in yellow, in purple. Oh wait, let me show you the people on them. There's yellow, and then your pinkish red. And then this is the normal first player marker. This is the little library board where you're going to be putting the books and getting the tokens. This is the location board where you're going to be putting, guess what, the location and doing the rest action. And then you have your player boards. Let's flip that over here. So let's show you purple. So here are your actions, and then these are where you're going to be putting the skill tokens, your free skills, your books. It comes with a jar. And then voila. So this is what all of you can see. The premium wood source tokens came in and various other things. So I'm using that right now. for the storage for the cards. So I will get those cards for you out here in a minute. But they did make these so you could actually use these for your card discards during the game. I haven't opened them yet, but there is a media expansion pack, a community expansion pack, and a team expansion pack. This is your scoreboard track. So you'll be moving your pollinator all along with flowers on every one, but then your jar is going to be jumping between some. You're going to be adding up the score of where they end. So the different colors. And now the main board is double-sided, so these are where your source tokens go. This is where you cook and serve. You're going to be moving according to the arrows. This side has certain ones that you can go out of, and then where you come out of, or you go in, and then you come out of. So there's that board. And then there's the other side, so you'll see it's different. You don't have the outs and ins. You have this little center track, and you go around in a circle. Alright, well, let me get those cards laid out for you, and then after that, I'll show you how it plays. Alright, so let's start off with the character card. So you're going to see a couple things on here. Up here is like a little speaking number thing. That is in relation to the solo campaign. This is how many points they give you. This is the food types they want you, and then their special ability, and of course their name and picture. So let's go down this first row of 3 wide. There's 48 guests. There's 48 recipes. So let's go ahead and get through the guests, and then we will get over to the recipes. Here are the recipes. So again, you have your star for your points, your name, your type of dish, and then the ingredients needed to make said dish. Coming down here, looking at all of the delicious artwork. Coming over to this side, going up. And then the last thing we're going to finish off with are the location cards. These you'll be playing with just 2 per game, but they're going to give you a beginning of day effect and certain things. And the back of this is your rest actions that you'll be able to take, which if you stick around for the how to play, I will be explaining all that, and you'll be discovering how that all works. Alrighty, so speaking of which, we are going to get into that how to play now. We are set up for Wild Gardens. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to place the path board in the center of the table, the victory track location board, and the library board, again in the middle of the table. You're going to sort ingredient tokens by type. I have those down here. Just know that they are. You're going to shuffle the location cards and create a deck. I've already just flipped over the top one. You create a recipe deck right here. Shuffle it up. Display 6. You do the same thing with the guest cards. We're going to randomly draw these source tokens from the bag, lay them out on the little spots. All 24 do get put out. You're going to randomly draw 4 skill tokens and put them on this board where the light bulb is. The skill side up, light bulb side down. You then can take this bag, put the book tokens in it, shake them, and then randomly assign the book tokens around the library. Each player is then going to get the following: a player board, their 5 player pieces, a forager meeple, which will be put on the board in a specific order based on player count, which I'll go over. They're going to get a jar token and a pollinator token that they put on the 0. Then, once you have chosen the first player, they're going to put their forager next to this statue. I have them laying down so you can see where they're at, but typically you're going to have them standing up. Then, going with the second player on, they're going to place their forager on an empty space adjacent to the first players or other ones. You cannot have multiple foragers on the same space. Then I'm going to flip over the top location card, which I've already done, and that has the location here. It's going to be the beginning of each day effect, and this is going to be in regards to the rest actions. So Wild Gardens is played over 2 trips, 3 days in each trip. You're going to start off each day by looking at the location card and doing what it says. So this says at the beginning of each day in player order, gain 2 points or gain all the following ingredients. So in player order, the first player will choose that, and then the second player will choose, and so forth and so on until everyone has chosen. So in this instance, we'll just say I chose 2 points. Next thing you're going to do is you are going to choose one of your action tokens. Put it on one of your actions. You'll be doing those actions after you move your forager that the noted amount of spaces. So we will say, let's grab the 3 and put it on that first one. You then are going to move your forager. When you move your forager, you must move the exact number of spaces. You must follow the directions of the arrows, and you skip over spaces with other foragers, not counting them. So with a 3, I could move 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. We'll just go 1, 2, and 3. Now, depending on what action you did, you are going to do said action there. This is, with the hands, this is the forage action. When you forage, you are going to look and see which source tokens you are nearby. And when you forage, you can take one of those. Seeing as this is twice, I can take 2 ingredients. They can either be 2 of the same or 2 different. So we'll say I take these 2 different ones. The next action you are able to take, you need to be on a picnic table for. In that instance, you are going to cook or you are going to serve. If you are going to cook, you are going to look at the ingredients you have here, or the recipes out here, or if you have one in your reserve. You're then going to discard the necessary ingredients to complete the recipe. So for example, if I had gone here and used my 2 instead of my 3, so I am on a picnic table, I have 2 flowers and a berry. I can turn to my 2 flowers and my berry, and I have made the red bud spring rolls. This comes over here underneath my board in the cooked recipes. I gain 2 points as shown on there, and I now have this in my cooked recipes to serve in the future, and this top card gets flipped over. The other option I have is, so fast forward, say I still have this, I'm on that picnic table, you can serve. The type of dish it is shown here. You are going to look at the guests out here, or any that you have in reserve, and you can serve any that you are able to. So Rosa here wants a salad, so I can take this, I can discard it to serve Rosa, who will go next to my board somewhere nearby. I will get the points denoted on them. There's 1 point. Then you're going to see if they have a ability. This one is when served, you gain 3 flowers. 1, 2, and 3. And then they will just be off to the side of your board in case you need to use them for something in the future or something relates to them, such as this jar, which I will get into later. The third area of actions is you can study or you can reserve. If you study, you are going to be able to take a book out of the library up here and get a skill token. The books you have access to is based on where your forager is and what they are adjacent to. So right now I'm adjacent to berry and root vegetable and leaves. So my leaves are there, my root vegetable and my berry. So I can grab any of those books. We'll grab the berry and we'll grab this action or the skill token. This skill token will now get assigned to one of these spots, and when you activate that area in the future, it will activate. I cannot put it here and activate it this turn. I'd have to activate it next time I do this, but we'll say we just put it right there. So those are the 3 actions that are present on your board. You do have 2 free skills you can do. You can trade in 3 of one ingredient to get a different ingredient of your choice, or you can pay a matching ingredient to return a book back. So if I had this book, I'd be able to pay a berry to put it back on one of the spots. I can have a max of 2 books. Just to touch on a couple of these skill tokens out here, I'm not going to go into all of them in depth, but this one shows this card with this little rainbow icon down there. That means the active ingredient. The active ingredient is whatever is shown on the back of this card. So in this instance, it would be a nut. This one means if you land in a space that's adjacent to the mushrooms, you would grab 2 mushrooms. This is if you land in a space that's adjacent to a flower, you would get a point. That is, you just get an acorn, and that increases or decreases the number on your action token when you go to place it. Your action token stays on there. You're going to go around the table with everyone taking actions and putting their little markers on their board. This marker, it says 1 to 4, is wild. You can use it as a 1 through 4. Then once everyone has used all of their action tokens, getting back to the first player, they are now going to choose one of their action tokens and place it up here for the rest action. The number that they choose is going to denote the action they get to take. If they put a 1, 2, 3, or 4. So in this instance, if we put up our 1, then what this is going to allow us to do is forage and then cook without being at one of the campsite picnic tables. And obviously a 2. So a 2, let's explain that really quick because that relates to the jars. So if you did a 2, you would be able to pay an acorn and a little seaweed to be able to move your jar. Whenever you're told to move your jar, you're going to count up how many jar symbols you have between your board and any guests in your reserve, your play area, your tableau, whatever you want to call it. So in this instance, I have 2. So my jar would go 1, 2. As you notice, this skip spots, you're going to just jump to where the jars are. Just realized I forgot to talk about the reserve action after I did the study. So the reserve action, if you choose to do that instead of studying, you are going to choose one of the cards out here and put it down here in your reserved area. At most, you can have 3 cards down there. Switch it out with this one. If they are in your reserved area, they do not count for other stuff. So in that instance, when I moved my jar, I would not count the jar on Fareed. I would only count them on guests I have served and on my board. You will also get 2 points if you do the reserve on your board. So going back into the rest option, once the other person takes the rest action, you are then going to pass the first player token to the next player. You're going to remove all of your action tokens from your board. You are going to leave the one on the location board, however, and then you'll activate the beginning of the day stuff. You're going to go about this until you have completed 3 days. Once 3 days are complete, you are again going to pass the first player token as usual. We are going to re-randomize the source tokens by putting them back in the bag, shuffling them up, and redistributing them. We are going to refresh these rows, discarding them, and then putting all brand new ones out. We are going to return all books from our player boards and in the library, and then re-randomize those out. We're going to take all of our action tokens back to our play area. We are going to flip over the next card on the location deck, and then we'll be starting the new ones at the beginning of the day with that one and going about again until we again are done with 3 days. Once we are complete with 2 trips, we are into the end game. The game is over. So we're going to move into final scoring, where you're going to be scoring victory points with your pollinator plus your jars tokens. You're going to get any points for any end game points in your guest area, such as Ness, who says at game end. And you'll know them because they have a little star up, or an asterisk up by the star. And then you're going to get 1 victory point for every 4 ingredients. That is the basics on how to play Wild Gardens. There are some differences with some of the tokens that you get and certain abilities that trigger on the guests. That is all covered in the rulebook, but this is a generalized how to play for the game. Hope you enjoyed. I do plan on playing through the solo scenarios on the channel. If that is something that interests you and you want to be alerted when it happens, you can head down, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. That way you'll be notified of videos. You can comment and let me know if you yourself have done those scenarios yet and what you thought of them. Or you can share this video so other people can discover Wild Gardens for themselves. So, until next time, forage, 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 forage.